She-Hulk.
I'm here to see Kevin. It's urgent.
Okay, great. Let me just have you sign our non-disclosure agreement and then...
Welcome back to WD MagicCast for the week of October 16th, 2022. This is episode 199. WD MagicCast, the show about the mouse, the Marvels, the galaxy, and beyond. I'm your host, Matthew Gracon. In this week's show, Matt Leonard and I discuss She-Hulk and the upcoming plans for episode 200. Be there as we make the announcement. Be the first to hear it. We'll be back after these words from our friends and sponsors. And now, on with the show. Marvel has brought us many marvels and wonderful things. Sometimes it comes in big packages that come to the theaters. Other times it comes in small packages and is not in the theaters. And then there's times that there's big packages and small packages that come in green Hulk size packages that come smashing through the screen and decides to talk to you while you're watching them on TV. In this case, we're talking about She-Hulk. And like a smart Hulk himself, Matthew Leonard has come to join us and discuss this franchise that he likes to discuss. Welcome aboard.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Well, I'm not sure okay. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, we do have some unfortunate news to cover first.
Yeah.
We
got two.
We got two back to back this week, unfortunately. I'm talking about the passing of Robbie Coltrane and Angela Lansbury. Robbie Coltrane, best known for Hagrid, and everyone's going, well, okay, Hagrid, that's not exactly Disney. No, it's not. I mean, paying respect.
He's a touchstone in a lot of our lives in the last 20 years. He's it's a franchise that sparks imagination, certainly. And I think, and that's kind of a lot of what we talk about.
And I was about to say, he also was in Brave as Lord Dingwall.
Oh, was he one of the suitors?
He was the old guy in the kilt.
Okay, Radar, the movie takes place in Scotland. Just about all of them were wearing kilts.
Yeah, he was in particularly that old guy with the.
Oh, okay, it's been a while since I've seen Brave. It's been a while.
Yeah,
since
me too.
I've seen Brave.
But he was the father to Wee Dingwall, who was one of the suitors.
Okay.
The less impressive kid.
Been a long time since I've watched Brave.
Yeah, that's his son.
Okay.
So, the less impressive dorky kid. But yeah, he's done a lot. He's best known.
He was a huge part of the British comedy scene in the 80s and in the 90s, and actually there was an Eric Idle movie, roughly 1988-89, Nuns on the Run, maybe late 80s, early 90s, was Nuns on the Run, and he did that with Eric Idle.
Really?
Yeah. It was.
I remember the title.
I think it was late 80s because I remember sort of seeing the plot description for Sister Act. Like con artist disguises herself as a nun, and I was like, wait a second, didn't Eric Idle make this movie? So it predates Nonsense, which would be 92, 93, something like that. So I think Nuns on the Run was like 88, I think. And he was in, for people who science fiction fans, he was in an episode of Red Dwarf as King Henry VIII. He was in an episode of one of my favorite shows, a little treat on Netflix called Still Game, which is a famous Scottish sitcom. And he did a guest spot in an episode of Still Game. In the episode Dial-a-Bus. He's very funny in that. What else did he do? He worked with a lot of like the guys who did the British series Young Ones. He was very close with a lot of them, and that sort of alternate comedy scene that came up in the 80s and the late 80s, sort of just post Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie and I can't think of his name. Rowan Atkinson. He was. He was sort of just on the heels of them.
He's got actually a fairly impressive book of work in his filmography. He had a part in Flash Gordon, the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Man at the Airfield. So it's kind of like a background guy, probably.
Yeah.
Metal Mickey. Don't know that one. But he was in an episode as well, or his voice was in an episode of Are You Being Served?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Where?
Let's see.
Sorry, I gotta apologize, folks. We're sort of Britcom nerds, both Matt and I.
Yes, those who know me well know that I'm an Anglophile. Where did he go? Hold on, I went past that now.
He was in. Oh, you know what else he was in? He was in. He's in a couple of the Ocean's 13 or the Ocean's 11 movies. I think he's in Ocean's
13.
He's in two. I think he's in 12 and 13.
Oh, maybe. I know he's also voices in Tale Despero, Arthur Christmas.
Blackadder's Christmas Carol. Nuns on the Run was 1990.
Pope Must Diet. No, yep, Nuns on the Run, 1990. Yep, year before. He was in Henry V. He's in an episode
of. Right, he's in a very, very funny episode of Blackadder as the inventor of the dictionary.
Oh, really?
I forgot about that. I've seen that one. It's like one of the funniest episodes of Blackadder. Yeah, he was in a couple episodes of the Young Ones.
Oh, the Blackadder the Third.
Yeah. Oh, I've got to look up that. I actually know which episode this is. The Are You Being Served? That's like the last episode of the series.
Okay.
Calling All Customers. Isn't that the one? Oh, no, wait. I'm thinking of a different. This is towards the end, though.
81. Yeah, season 9.
Yeah.
Calling All Customers. This
okay, I vaguely remember that episode.
I have the whole thing on DVD, so I'll have to go
was
back
on
and watch it.
Worked with French and Saunders. He was in a couple of French and Saunders, Lanny Henry. So yeah, he was all part of that.
National Lampoon's European Vacation.
Yeah.
So
an extraordinarily huge body of work, and then of course, really got known in this country when he started doing the Harry Potter films and playing Hagrid. Oh, he was in an episode of Frasier. I don't remember him being in Frasier.
some of this is voice work too.
Yeah. No, hang on. His character in Frasier, he's listed as Michael Moon. He was one of Daphne's relatives.
Oh.
Because Daphne Moon was the
housekeeper.
the housekeeper.
There's a message in the bottle? TV rendition of Alice in Wonderland. I actually have this.
The Brothers Bloom, I actually saw that. He was very good in that.
Couple James Bonds, The World Is Not Enough, and GoldenEye.
But like you said, what he's of course become known for over the years, more than anything, is playing Hagrid.
Yeah, Van Helsing movies.
And was really and from listening to some of the tributes coming from the Harry Potter actors, everybody kind of felt that he was the heart of the thing.
Yeah,
and was sort of a real father figure to the kids, and the sort of loving uncle, and really took them under his wing and adored being with them, and they adored being with him. So.
Yeah, I remember even seeing this well before he passed. To speak to the truth of that the primary actors talked about him in that sense of way, that he was just such a warm, like you said, the heart of the cast, and just so warm and loving towards the kids and pretty much to everybody when they were making these movies.
Yeah.
So that statement has rung true for years, and he was 72, quite young.
Yeah.
Still, so it's just very unfortunate loss. So he will be missed, but leaves behind a lot of fantastic work. Then I guess we should go on to the next one as well.
Yeah, we lost a real legend this week.
Literally.
Yeah.
And that would be the Miss Angela Lansbury. That
was she? Is it Miss? Was she Dame? No, she was never made a Dame, was she?
Good question.
Yes, Dame Angela Lansbury.
Oh yeah, there we go. Died 5 days before her birthday.
I'm trying to find out when she was damed.
She became a Disney legend in 95. Not 95. I just had it. Where'd it go?
In 2014, Queen Elizabeth II made Lansbury a dame in honor of her accomplishments as an actress.
In 1995, she became a Disney legend as well.
Wow. And for good reason.
Yeah.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Beauty and the Beast. And if you want a real treat, although it's not a Disney movie, The Court Jester with Danny Kaye.
Ooh, Danny Kaye.
Oh, she's stunningly gorgeous in that. She's stunning. The first time I saw the Court Jester, in fact, I think it was probably a couple viewings of the Court Jester before I realized she was in it, because it's one of the few times she was known for Bedknobs and Broomsticks. She was known for, excuse me, of course, Murder, She Wrote. And she was a little older when she did both of those.
Yeah.
But she did Court Jester. She was relatively young, and you don't recognize her at all, or you sort of have to watch her like, who? There's something about her.
Very familiar with that person.
Place.
Well, it's like,
but she's wonderful in that. It's
like you look at Betty White. You go back to some of her early picks, and you wouldn't have recognized her either.
Right.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, Bedknobs and Broomsticks was one of my sister's favorite movies growing up.
That's a fun movie.
It really is. And then, of course, and she was just so wonderful in Beauty and the Beast. Again, talking about the heart of the film. I have this thing I always talk about with Beauty and the Beast. The Beauty and the Beast are the main characters, but really it's the story of. I always felt it's Beauty and the Beast are the title characters, but it's Potts, Cosgrove, Cogsworth, and Lumiere who really carry the picture and carry the emotional.
Yes.
And of course her just singing that wonderful song, that Ashman Menken song right in the middle. It's so beautiful.
Delicacy.
Yeah. It's I remember hearing that for the first time and going, God, this is good. Like you knew what a hit song in a movie was. You knew kind of like, oh, this is your Oscar winner right here, because it's this beautiful, beautiful song, and she sings it so magnificently.
Well, yeah, and
then had a tremendous theater career, musical theater career. Sweeney Todd was kind of written for her, or the character she played in Sweeney Todd was written for her. Just this, or so I've heard. Just this amazing life, and then of course the thing that she's really recognized and remembered for is Murder, She Wrote back in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean that's when I really, as well. I'd watch Bedknobs and Broomsticks, but the Murder, She Wrote's really what connected. Jessica Fletcher.
Right. And it was one of those things, it's funny. It's you and I have talked about Golden Girls in the past, but it's that same thing where, like, Murder, She Wrote was not. You think of, like, this is more true of the 80s. I think it's a little less true now, where you had your that all important demographic of who you were trying to reach, and specifically it was the number one demographic for television at the time was young males in their 20s and 30s, and here's this show about a
more mature
woman in her 50s, 60s, woman in her 60s. She was born in 1925, so figure 1985, woman in her 60s.
Yep.
Solving murder mysteries, and she, her character is an author. You're obviously bucking the, if you sort of look at the landscape of what were detectives at that time, you think of Columbo and Kojak and that kind of thing.
Well, and here's the stranger thing. Just as I came upon it, she actually crossed over onto Magnum PI as Jessica Fletcher.
She?
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, well, I mean, Magnum's another one, and you think of the shows that were on at that time, Knight Rider and Magnum and A-Team and whatever. And here was this show about a mystery writer in a sleepy little town in Maine, using her skills as a mystery writer to solve crimes. And again, the lead is not, in their 20s or in their 30s. It's it's this elderly woman in her 60s solving crimes. It's pretty bizarre to think by today's standard, or by the standards of the day at that time.
This show would not work.
Right.
According to whoever at that time.
Right.
She appeared in an episode of Newhart.
That doesn't surprise me.
No.
But another great one who we have lost and will be missed.
Very much. And she was in Anastasia.
What was it? Nanny McPhee. She was in the Nanny McPhee movie.
She was in that too. Because let's see, I just came upon that she was in Fox's, which is now Disney's Anastasia. All the Beauty and the Beast spin-off things. Law and Order. Yep, Nanny McPhee, Aunt Annadale.
Yeah,
Adelaide. Aunt Adelaide. Prized voiced Mrs. Potts in Kingdom Hearts 2. Mr. Popper's Penguins. The 2017 TV miniseries of Little Women. The animated Illumination, The Grinch.
right.
And Mary Poppins Returns as the Balloon Lady. Oh, most recently, Glass Onion, a Knives Out
movie. That's interesting because I think they them. I didn't even know they'd finished that. I didn't even know they'd started on that. I knew they were making it.
I know they were making it. I've seen that it was coming. Is it?
Oh, and of course the Pirates of Penzance with Kevin Kline and Linda Ronstadt. Which, again, going back to her musical theater background.
Well, I got where'd this one go? She was also in Blue. Was it Blue Hawaii?
I have no idea.
Blue Hawaii with Elvis.
Okay.
So, yeah, she's got another one that's just got such a great book of work. It was just such a talent on multiple. I mean, besides her acting skills and her voice skills, such a beautiful singing voice too.
Yeah.
So I mean, she just. I mean, she was 96, so.
Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't live forever.
Yeah.
But she's such an endearing and just.
1955, she made the court gesture with Danny Kaye.
Wow.
And it's gonna drive me nuts because I was trying to remember this the other day. The actress and the actress Glynis Johns from Mary Poppins is in that.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, two that we've lost this week.
Yeah, but have again left so much of their talent that we can go back and still enjoy.
Yeah.
So just such a gift to humanity.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now, to hopefully happier things now.
Hopefully.
She-Hulk. I know this has been the one that this was the series that you'd been looking forward to since its announcement.
Yes.
We talked briefly about the first couple of episodes when it came out.
Right.
And now we have the entire first season.
Right.
Most likely.
No, I don't know. There's a lot of rumors that are popping up, but I saw something today that She-Hulk season 2 has been they are going
is greenlit.
Season 2, yeah.
I know this was one that they were initially a little leery about because they just didn't know how to go about presenting it, how to cut it. But it was quite the series.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see.
I liked it right up until the last 8 minutes. And then it fell apart for me. There, I said it.
That's okay.
Okay.
But it's
And I didn't.
I understand why you say that. I
Yeah.
do understand that.
And I didn't mind, and I want to clarify that I didn't mind the breaking the fourth wall. I kind of, as we got through the show, I was kind of hoping that I thought, well, back in the really when she would break the fourth wall, it wasn't just that she would talk to the reader. She would talk to the reader usually in the first page, maybe the last couple. I don't remember her ever doing that so much during that, but generally at the start of the comics. But then the real breaking of the fourth wall would involve Jen or She-Hulk storming into the Marvel offices and dressing down Marv Wolfman or Dan Slott or whoever was, writing or whoever was editing her book at the time. She'd go in and she'd yell at them, and it was always kind of fun. So I thought, are they going to, as I was thinking about this last week, I thought, I wonder if they're going to do that. Are they going to do a thing where she literally steps onto a Marvel Studios soundstage and starts, and they did that, and I was thrilled that they did that, and I thought it was very funny that they did that and the way that they did that, and I thought there was a lot of brilliant stuff there. And then they came out of it and shot the entire series in the foot multiple times with a bazooka. Just kind of nothing that was set up mattered. I mean, even within the episode itself, nothing that was set up mattered, and anything that was intrinsically interesting about the show or might pull you into the show, you were now told was not important. And they admitted openly that they had no direction for the show or what to do with the show. They had no creative ideas to do with the show, and then ended it the way that they ended it.
And they did it, but they were also trying to do it in a mocking way that this is a superhero pick, so therefore we have to follow these tropes, and the final trope being that it has to be this over-the-top big battle for the last episode. And I think the whole point of this is, and where they were truly going with this was, no, you don't have to do that. This is not, she's a Hulk, she's a superhero, yes, but this is actually more of she's a lawyer first.
Right.
So how do you do that? You don't use your muscle to beat the bad guy. You use your brain, which is what she ended up doing.
Okay, fine, but then give us the legal battle. At least let that play out. Instead, I just felt the entire thing just kind of fizzled at the end, where she's like, well, I'm going to sue the guy, and that's going to be it. Yeah. And the villain wasn't even an interesting villain. It was some creep that they introduced in episode 2, whatever it was. He wasn't even all that interesting.
No, and it did spin a little. For me, I do agree that the last episode did spin a little out of control. I mean, I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than you did. Because
I enjoyed it up until the last 5 minutes, like I said before, and then it was like, well, what the heck? What was any of this about? Why did I just felt it was sort of spitting in the face of the people who were spitting in the face of its audience.
Well, they were going after a certain demographic, people that we've gone after too. What I saw is that supposedly instead of the CGI robotic Kevin, it was actually supposed to be Kevin Feige.
Right.
That she was supposed to kind of he was supposed to be the ultimate antagonist,
right,
for the whole thing. Maybe he just wasn't available. I haven't seen why yet, but so they had to do the whole CGI route. I liked some of the quips that was put in there, even the design of Kevin, where the lenses have the ball cap over it,
right,
or a brim over it, just like Kevin always wears the ball cap. So I enjoyed it still.
Okay.
On a whole, just looking at the series as a whole, I thought I really enjoyed this series. It was something fun. It was just something that I enjoyed sitting down and watching because it wasn't anything too heavy. It wasn't anything too crazy. I didn't have to worry, minus a few scenes, about what my kids were watching. There was a couple scenes that I did have to just kind of distract them briefly. Not
Right.
that you saw anything, but
Yeah.
the implications. Um, it was just
But it was obvious kind of halfway through that it was a little directionless.
yes.
And then you got to the end and you're like, no, we really didn't know what to do with this, and they fully admitted to the fact that they didn't know what to do with this. I'm finding that with a lot of these. I'm starting to find that with a lot of these shows that they do all seem to be slightly within some degree directionless. Like what am I watching? And I found that a little bit with Obi-Wan. I found Obi-Wan was stretched out a little bit. I found that a lot with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I found, I'm finding that so much with Andor. I'm so bored by Andor. And even WandaVision felt a little unevenly keeled in some places. The pacing just felt
when
weird.
we were talking about that they could have chopped off a few episodes there.
Right. And I felt that this could have been, it just needed to be a little tighter in terms of what they were doing. Having said that, I loved her. I thought she was fantastic. Mark Lynn Baker, we've talked about this. I'm always thrilled when I see Mark Lynn Baker in something. And he was so funny as her father. I mean, there were so many moments that were like, well, that's just what a dad does, like people go to jail every day, like that.
I love that line. Yeah, it's okay. People go to jail every day, honey. It's all right.
Yeah, they're not the first person that this has happened to. He's like,
it's like, really, Dad? How many people?
Wonderfully fatherly.
It was, I as I've said before, Tatiana is just such a fantastic actress.
Yeah.
And again, she just proves it in the role of this show, that she just plays off the duality and just everything that you're attracted. You just watch her and just she has such a presence on the stage or on the screen. The family I thought was, particularly like you said, the dad, that was good. Some of the other supporting lawyers that they popped in and out were okay.
Yeah, I was a little Mallory Book is much more of a, in the comics, I was a little disappointed with Mallory because in the comics she's much prissier and really obnoxious, but in a really fun way. She's much more of a foil for Jen. She's very serious. She's very and is kind of the better lawyer of the, in the comics, Mallory is the better lawyer of the two, but Jen gets all of the attention and the credit because she's She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would have been more fun to explore instead of making them buddies, So I was a little disappointed with the Mallory Book character. I wish they'd maybe kept that. And Pug I was a little disappointed in because Pug in the comics is a much more fun character. He's sort of the opposite.
He was underwhelming in this one.
In the comics, or in the Dan Slott comics, he really is that kind of best friend. And there's almost a little bit of a will they, won't they, except that Jen is totally oblivious to the fact that Pug has any interest in her. But at the same time, Pug he never pushes his boundaries on that. He's very respectful. He's very tender. He's actually a really good friend, first and foremost. And that's what makes Pug such a great character in the comics. And here, Pug was he was a bit more of a doofus, more of a goofy sidekick. Whereas in the comics, he's much more suave. He, again, is also a good lawyer. But more than anything, he's a really good friend, and he's the guy who kind of knows Jen better than she does, and knows how to help her. So I don't know.
I mean, if we do get this season 2, maybe that's something they hopefully could explore better. For Mallory though, I did get the sense that she was definitely the better lawyer.
Right.
But no, I got that sense in this.
In the comics, they're really almost more rivals, and there's all sorts of stuff. He's like, I can't even remember who it is. There's something that happens at some superhero, either might be Titania, might be Crusher Creel, might be the Absorbing Man. I don't remember, but at some point there's an attack either in the courtroom or on the law offices. It's been a long time since I've read it. And Mallory actually gets injured. She ends up with spinal injury and is in a wheelchair for like the second half of the comics. And she holds She-Hulk responsible for that. She blames She-Hulk and She-Hulk's presence for the fact that, this supervillain has injured her. Mm-hmm. So they're really more kind of against each other in a way, but at the same time, in a way that Mallory's kind of right. Yes, she's that kind of character. Whereas here they really made her more friends with She-Hulk, and and She-Hulk I thought had enough friends in the office. So
it was. I took it more like a professional friend, not like a
right.
A buddy friend that she would really go out with, hang out with.
In the comics, she's not even a professional friend. She just hates Jennifer and is like, well, I've got to pull your butt out of the fire again. Or I've got to cover for you again. I've got to take your caseload again because you're off doing superhero things again. It's much more of a rivalry. And I was kind of looking forward to seeing that, and I didn't get it. And also, but I'm a grumpy old man at this point. Like the whole, like even Titania, I just felt it never really
could have been a little more.
There could have been a little bit more, like other than just being super strong and she's an influencer, but there was no backstory there for the character. I thought that could have been done a lot better.
So, yeah, they didn't get much into her character.
Right.
And here's something I did wonder, that being that the episodes were only half an hour-ish, did in this case actually work against the show as far as storytelling went?
I think so.
Since they were going very much for that sitcom, half an hour TV sitcom thing. But a lot of the better sitcoms run closer to an hour in length now, don't they?
I have no idea. I haven't watched television in...
I don't even remember that.
I don't watch...
No, I'm wrong. Because like Frasier was a half-hour show, right?
Yes, Frasier was a half-hour show.
So no, I'm wrong there.
Hasn't been on in 20 years, so take that with a grain of salt. But no, but like Big Bang Theory and more modern, yes, sitcoms are traditionally half an hour.
So
But here's the thing: was they were going after a kind of Ally McBeal kind of feel, and Ally McBeal was not half an hour. McBeal
that was an hour.
So, and Ally McBeal was, if you were asking me which one I'd rather watch Ally McBeal. Because I thought storytelling was a little bit better. What's that?
I never watched that.
I think I saw it once or twice. It was on while I was in college, so I never really had the time to watch it. Robert Downey Jr. was in Ally McBeal.
This is true.
Yeah.
That
was sort of one of the first attempts to sort of jumpstart his career again, and that went off the rails for another 7 or 8 years, and then Iron Man. So.
Yeah, I mean, on the whole, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I again, and I had a feeling this was going to be the way that it went, bringing Charlie Cox back as Daredevil back in.
Right.
Like it's going to be like the last two
heavily.
episodes.
They teased that pretty heavily, so you kind of knew that was coming.
Right, you knew that was coming, but it wasn't. It was unfortunately the last two episodes. I was hoping it would get like 3 episodes, but they do really dragged you along for that one. But he goes right back into that character. I mean, he just plays him.
Yeah.
Plays him, really well. One of the alternate suits in this one.
Yep. The yellow.
Yeah, the red and yellow suit. But again, he just plays that part to perfection.
Yeah, but I didn't think that was another thing. I didn't think they needed him even in the last episode. I mean, I just felt it was a wasted. I liked seeing him in last week's episode, and when he got in this week's episode, I thought, well, that was dumb. Dropping him in there. So, like I said, I enjoyed the show right up until the last 5 minutes.
So taking the last 5 minutes out.
Take it out, and take the last 5 minutes. There's still stuff that they could have done a lot better.
True.
They could have built the world a little bit better, but
Yeah. Lots of interesting characters that they brought into it. Some more known characters, some MCU characters, and then a lot of lesser known characters.
A lot of lesser known, sort of fan favorite kind of characters.
The porcupine guy.
Yeah.
And
Manbor.
Mm-hmm. And the swashbuckling one.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Matador.
Right.
And
then they introduced Hulk's son, like right at that was another thing that, like, in the last 5 minutes, like, why are they doing this here?
That seemed awkward of a drop in. I'm trying to see if I'm wondering if that's supposed to be Hulkling.
No, that's Scar. He's a real character. Hulkling in the comics is a Skrull.
Yeah, that's right.
But Scar is Hulk's son in the comics, and again, it's just sort of a fan favorite character, and it just seemed a very, very weird way to just drop that.
Oh, here's the last 30 seconds. Look, Hulk is back, and here's why.
And he's got a son, and I don't know. It just seemed very, very out of place. Oh.
There's a few points I was expecting them to start going off and building some of the side characters a little more. It looked like they tried to do that and then got lost.
I'll tell you what I wanted, and I thought there was one, I don't remember. I thought that I was almost positive that they were going to head this direction with it, which would have been far more interesting as far as I'm concerned. I thought they were going to reveal that the leader was the villain, that they would tie up or bring in the loose plot thread from the 2008 Hulk movie, which is Leader, who was kind of seen lying in a pool of super soldier serum with his brains bubbling out.
Well, he is coming back.
Is he?
Yes.
But do you know when and where?
He's announced as the villain for...
Yes, you don't know either.
No, I just talked about this. Is it
Quantum Mania?
No, it's past that. Is it Armor War?
No, I thought they were bringing in Sam Rockwell for Armor War.
That could be right. No, it's one of the ones that they more recently announced.
I don't know. But I thought they were going to tie him in here, and even if they had, like, that would have been the character to see in the last 30 seconds and go, "Oh my gosh, it's that guy," that would have been more interesting to me, and to find out that he was, especially when, he sort of is the head of intelligentsia. That would have made more sense. That's why I thought they were headed in that direction. But they didn't. Oh well, I'm not in charge of this.
Oh, Captain America 4: New World Order. That's who he's showing up in that movie.
Oh, okay.
So yes, they are bringing him back.
Uh-huh.
It took me a moment to remember which one it was.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, he's showing up in Captain America 4.
Okay then.
So yeah, Kevin already thought of that, just in a different spot.
You know what I think happened? See, now this is starting to be. You know what I think happened? I think they were headed in that direction originally, to make him the villain in She-Hulk, and then got 3/4 of the way through. Got into production, got most of the way through it, got towards the end, and then someone said, "Wait a second, let's move him here." And they had to scramble at the end to. That's what I think happened. I'll bet you.
It could be. I mean, a lot of things could, like, these things can happen.
The timing on that seems kind of interesting. But yeah, I'll bet you that's what happened.
I wouldn't be surprised if that or something very similar to that didn't happen.
Yeah. And for those of you listening, that's just my little internet theory. That's not fact. That's just me sort of looking at things and going, that if they did that, that would make, I don't want to say make sense, but it would explain a lot if that's what happened.
Right. It would kind of play out that way. Huh. I wonder. The world may never know. So, how on a whole?
Yeah.
From second one to the last moment, how would you, out of 10, what would you give this series?
I don't know. Did you see you do this to me all the time? You ask me to rate things.
I do.
I don't like to rate things. I'm not a ranking kind of guy. How would you rate it? How tall is Mark Lynn-Baker? There you go. I would rate it Mark Lynn-Baker's height.
Mark Lynn-Baker's height. Really?
Or Tatiana Maslany's, whichever. Somewhere between her real height and sometime between Tatiana Maslany's height and her body double's height.
Interesting, because she did have a body double.
She-Hulk's body double.
Yeah.
Because it's her face plastered on somebody else's body.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting whenever they did the little spoof of the 80s Hulk.
Oh, the 80s. Yeah, I thought that was fun. And they kind of, it's interesting because if you go back and watch the 2008 Hulk movie, there are sort of elements of the Incredible Hulk opening in the opening credits of the Ed Norton movie.
Yes, there is.
So I thought it was fun for them to really okay, well, we'll just dive into it and we'll just do this and make it, cheesy and 80s like.
With the oddly placed looks and off-timed lines, and so you're giving it somewhere between a 5'4" and a 5'7".
Really? Wait, she's only what? The body double is what?
Oh no, I didn't give it the body. That's
no, actually... the body double. Go between Tatiana Maslany's and the body double.
The body double.
Body double's got to be 6 foot something.
So, Malia Arai.
This is a new variation on Guess the Height. This is how I'm going. And next time you ask me to rate things, I'm just going to rate it on based on somebody's height.
Okay, so between 5'4" and 6'5".
Yeah, somewhere between 5'4" and 6'5". That's how I rate the show.
Okay.
And that's not out of 10. That's whatever numbers are in my head.
Out of a quadrillion.
Yeah.
Okay.
The numbers are all made up in my head.
Where the score is kept closely and the points don't matter.
I don't know if you've seen this. This is fun, and this is not a political thing, but it's totally a political thing, but it's not a political thing. Have you seen the video of Donald Trump counting?
No.
Oh God, it's hilarious. There's a video, and it's literally it's spliced together. 1
million, 2 1 million, 3 1 million.
Spliced together like campaign speeches in him, and it starts out him 1, 2, 3, and then it's like 1 to 10, and it's like more than dozens, hundreds, thousands, in the thousands. Numbers you can't think of. Numbers only I can think of. Millions. It just goes up and up. And it's him just exaggerating these numbers. It's so funny. And, again, I don't want to make the show political, but it's sort of one of those things.
That's not exactly political.
It's not political, and yet you can enjoy it from both sides of the aisle, I think. Yes. Yet it's just really, it's political humor that isn't necessarily political.
Right.
And
right.
I enjoy that.
It is fun to watch political humor.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I jumped topic there for a second. So that's.
Oh, we don't do that here.
What did I say? 5 foot, but somewhere between 5'4" and 6'5" is what I said.
5'4" and 6'5".
Wow, is that how short she is?
Yeah.
Wow. So then the 5'7" is Mark Lynn Baker. I knew he was short, or relatively short. Shorter than me.
Still taller than Tatiana.
Yeah. Wow.
You don't get a sense of her shortness, like her height in this show. In Orphan Black, you got a little better sense of.
Well, no, because you do see her next to Mark Lynn Baker, and if you know that Mark Lynn Baker is short, you know that she's shorter. Because he used to, you and I grew up in the 80s, so we know him from standing next to Bronson Pinchot, who was moderately tall.
Yeah.
Who's easily a good 5'10", 5'11". Might even be 6 foot. But he's not in a Disney movie, so we won't guess Bronson Pinchot's height.
No, we'll move on from that.
No, we'll do that another time. That's going to be... Oh, well, we'll talk later. That's going to be a question next week. How tall is Bronson Pinchot, isn't it? You're going to do that to me.
Ooh, there we go.
Just to...
What does he have to do with Disney? Because Matt brought him up last week.
Oh.
There
were 3 people that have never been in my kitchen.
Good answer. No, you know what? I just to go back to the She-Hulk quickly for the ending.
Sure.
When she got into the office and the Kevin device dropped in, I had flashbacks of Wall-E.
We were watching something recently. Oh, we were thinking Andor. I've been watching Andor all week, watching the little robot on Andor going, it's Wall-E. Why is good to know Wall-E's finding work? You know.
He put on a red suit and
yeah, every time that droid appears on screen, I turn to Emily and just go, Wall-E.
Eva. All right. Who would you say was your MVP or most valuable character for this show?
Well, it's a She-Hulk show. I don't think there was really a. Although, I gotta say this, and I think we might have mentioned this one of the last times I was on. I love watching Benedict Wong because he clearly enjoys being Wong. You just see him you see him having fun and really enjoying that character, and it's
Yes.
always really fun to watch him just
And
play it.
I was very happy to see him pop up at the teaser at the end, the little after credit scene, with Emil Bonsky's character, and say, oh yeah, I'm starting another series. I don't think he mentioned what the series was, but here's this masterful wizard, and he's got all these important things to do. And what's he doing? He's binge watching old TV shows.
Right.
He's one of us. The most powerful wizard.
That apparently the episode with the character Madison,
I thought she was going to pop up whenever
that would have been fun. But apparently that bit at the end of that episode with the two of them sitting on the couch eating popcorn together and commenting on some TV show they're watching was not intended. It was the two of them. It was the two actors were sitting on the couch at one point and just started riffing and doing this thing. And the director was like, film this, put a camera on the two of them and get this.
Really?
And so it was apparently like it was an in the moment thing where they were just, the two of them were horsing around, and the director saw them doing it. Was like, let's just turn the camera on and get this. We'll put it into the show somewhere.
I love
it's a very funny. It's a very, very funny bit. Doesn't have anything to do with the rest of She-Hulk, but apparently, But apparently, nothing that happened in She-Hulk had to do with the She-Hulk series. So there you go.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have to go with Tatiana, and like you said, honorable mentions to Wong.
And Mark Lynn Baker. Because I love watching Mark Lynn Baker.
All right, Mark Lynn.
I'll give Mark Lynn Baker.
Give Mark Lynn Baker.
I'll give him a 5'7".
You give Mark Lynn Baker. I'm going to give Charlie Cox another honorable mention.
He's got to be a good 5'10". Sure.
We'll go with that because I'm not going to give it away.
Oh, now I got to look up Charlie Cox's height now, don't I? Okay, I got it. I know where we're going. I really should anticipate these questions.
We'll have to discuss these questions later.
Yeah.
But I guess there we have it. A letter opener. So I heard reports of people whenever they flashed to the Disney Plus home screen.
Yeah.
That some people were actually thought something happened to the
freaking
show.
Out.
Yeah.
They did it well enough that I had a half moment and then went, wait a second, this is a thing. Like, because it was so Marvel filled.
Right.
It was almost a little too much Marvel in my Marvel screen,
Yep.
And also, I was like, oh right, I know what they're doing. So I thought that was very funny. I thought that part I actually did think was funny. And I enjoyed that. It was everything that came after that I just, like I said, it was like they just took a bazooka to the show, and it was like, well, what the heck did I spend the last 6 weeks watching?
When she was accosting the writers, were you okay with that?
Yes. But at the same time, I felt it was an admission that the writers, if they had actually delivered something after that was interesting.
And that's kind of where it's heading. If you got to the writer's part, but then you got something a little more conclusive and concrete after that,
I wouldn't have had any problem. But I felt but then it was having watched, I'm like, wow, that was really an admission that they had no idea what to do with this. So anyway, like I said, I was fine right up until they came back into the show, and just like what was the point of any of this?
Let's just all sit around and be happy. Yeah. it was very anticlimactical.
Yeah.
Which I think you're right on the point that they didn't know what to do with it. I think at the same point that was the direction that's what they wanted to do, in not knowing how to organically get there.
Yeah.
Because the amount of times that they went after like the toxic fans was very apparent, and making them kind of they were trying to make them the bad guys and not making the bad guys at the same time. And
well, they did do that. One of the episodes where they're riffing on like these various pot shots, and this person said this and this person said that. That was all. They pulled those. Those were real comments from real fans that they were, it's like, all right, we're gonna use arm. We're gonna use that. We're gonna arm ourselves with that, and I like the fact that they did that. Because you and I have talked about toxic fans and the stupidity of toxic fans.
Yeah.
But then you get to the you deliver an ending for a show like that, and suddenly you start justifying some of the toxicity of the fans. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but it's not. It has nothing to do with the character or the actors.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with the character.
This has to do with the people sitting around the desk with typewriters.
Yeah.
The monkeys in the room. I mean, not saying they're monkeys, but the people in the room with the typewriters and the computers going, "Oh, yes,
oh, yeah,
oh no, yes, no." Period! Exclamation point.
She'll sue him at the end.
Yep. It's a lawyer show. How funny would it be if a lawyer sues for the ending? Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So what's next I'm trying to think, what's the next thing that Marvel's got coming up? I don't even know. I don't even pay attention. Well, Wakanda.
Black Panther.
Black Panther is next. Is in a couple of weeks.
Forever. That's the next next thing out of the gate that comes out next month. And
yep, November 6th or something.
November 11th.
It's fun to watch you do these things. I throw dates at you and you correct me. I'm doing something November 11th, so I won't be at the movie theater. Maybe I'll go catch it the next week. See if I can.
I will be. Yeah. I will not be available.
I'll tell you after, because that's important. But I'll tell you later what I'm doing on November 11th. It's very cool.
Ooh, I look forward to it. But I will. Let me put it out there now. I will have a review episode for it following the release, so that week, but it will be delayed by a day. So I'll be seeing it the Tuesday after it comes out, and I'm with how late, because it's almost a 3-hour runtime. It's 2 hours and 47 minutes.
See, when you tell me things like that, I was like, I'm really interested. I really want to see this movie, and then you told me I have to sit still for 3 hours. No.
Yep.
No. Too long for me for a movie.
Yeah. So I'm seeing like
I've got other things to do with my life.
7:00 show. Yeah. So by the time that gets out, I am not going to be able to record that night. So I'll have to record it the following night. For me. But yeah, so that will be coming up. After that, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
And the Marvels is somewhere in there.
Marvels is June.
Oh, really?
June, July, yeah. Secret Invasion will be after Quantumania. So the next series is going to be the Nick Fury one.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we have in the immediate future. And then we just got the whole timeline shifted from Blade on.
Can we talk about since we're talking Marvel?
Always.
I don't know if you've mentioned this on the rumors that are going around about the Thunderbolts movie. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that? Or is it too much of an internet rumor for us to throw fuel on that fire?
I know Isaac and I talked about this the other week.
Oh, okay. Well then.
Yeah.
All right, then I won't talk about it.
That it's it's out there. It's speculative. I
It's starting to sound a little bit more than just speculative.
Yeah. At first, I wasn't buying it.
Because I think I believe my computer's acting weird. I believe that is we are past the point of speculative. But let me just
no one's gotten to really. No one's saying no. No one's saying yes, which makes you more believe that it's a yes than a no.
Yeah, it's still
because it's only from one person reporting this.
Yeah.
Who is sometimes right and sometimes wrong. So he doesn't always have the best success rate, but he likes to tout himself as being the all-knowing.
Right. Yeah, it's looking more and more, but you also don't know. It's also a game of telephone at this point. And this is my problem with a lot of these internet. It's unfortunately become what reporting is these days. That rumor becomes fact.
Well, let me put it this way. With the same actor, where everyone was guaranteeing and going up and down that he was going to be appearing in the final episode of Boba Fett. Oh, he was seen on set. Oh, here's pictures of it. Oh, absolutely happening. And
right. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Didn't happen. And same thing with Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise was absolutely in Multiverse of Madness. Definitely in there. Here's pictures of him on set for Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
And we've yet to see him in Multiverse of Madness, which is already, been in theaters, come out of theaters on Disney Plus and on Blu-ray.
And I still haven't watched it.
All right.
I was actually thinking the other day. I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen any of the last 4 Marvel movies. I haven't seen Shang-Chi. I haven't seen Eternals. I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok or Love and Thunder, and I haven't seen Multiverse of Madness. I haven't watched any of them.
Out of those, I would say I would put Shang-Chi as a priority.
That's what I've heard. I've heard a lot of really good things about Shang-Chi, and maybe one day I will get around to watching that, but I don't know when that's going to be.
That was a fun, and I thought, I again, as a character I knew nothing about, I didn't know what to expect from the movie, and I thought it played out nicely.
Yeah.
And again, speaking of ties into previous things, some characters come back from that we haven't seen in quite some while.
I know who some of those are.
Yeah.
Thanks, She-Hulk.
But yeah, other than, I mean, yeah. And then you got Eternals. I enjoyed better than I think the majority of people, but I could see where people don't care for it. So I understand, but I don't think it's as bad as people made it out to be. Just it's a very different tone.
Yeah.
Of movie, very different tone.
Okay.
Multiverse of Madness. It has its high points. It's got its okay points. And then Thor: Love and Thunder, you could skip.
Well, now this is the one thing I have heard, which is that if you watch Love and Thunder from the perspective of its Korg telling a story, that it's everything filtered through the eyes of Korg. It's a different film.
Yeah, but it's hard to remember that as the movie goes on.
Okay, good to know.
Because it does that. That's literally how it starts out.
Right.
Well, you have the pre-introduction to introduce Gore, and you get his story right off the bat, and then you swing into the title and you get Korg telling you, "Oh, I'm going to tell you the tales of Thor, the good," and then it goes to that, and then it exits out with Korg talking again.
Yeah.
So that's which remind me to tell you something when we're done as well
Okay.
about the last scene.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not awful, but I think I if I remember correctly,
That was
I
arousing.
think
It's not awful.
I think I put it right above Black Widow, which that for me is my low point of.
Yeah. I had a lot of problems with Black Widow.
So yeah, this for me was like a step up, just one, then the next one.
Is being if you haven't seen the videos for I always enjoy watching the how it should have ended videos and also the honest trailer videos, and they do a lot about the fact like the number of times and the ways that Black Widow really should have died in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh brother.
Yeah.
That movie was painful to watch. Oh, there you go. I was trying to think. What was the last Marvel movie I saw? And the last Marvel movie I saw was Black Widow, and I think that's why I haven't watched. It was so bad. I just haven't been able to take myself back to a theater.
I can't say I blame you.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm saying.
But no, Shang-Chi is more of a redeemer.
Okay. I've heard Shang-Chi was good.
They with the challenges that they were against with Shang-Chi, because they just started production and then had to shut everything down because of the pandemic.
COVID, yeah.
And then figure out how to shoot a movie post-pandemic. I was surprised with the quality of the movie that we got, and it just plays out. It plays out well.
Good.
Characters, it's cool. Even though I'm not a fan of his sidekick, I thought she did a good job.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't mind her character at all in this. What's her name again? Awkwafina.
Awkwafina, yeah.
Yeah.
She's in Bad Guys.
She's also in Raya.
Oh.
So yeah. Like I said, if you were to give a priority order, I would put Shang-Chi first on that. Definitely.
Okay.
And then yeah, it's Marvel's at this interesting point that they're starting to. I feel like they're not experimenting as much as they used to.
Yeah, well, I think that was kind of what She-Hulk's point was.
But then we get Werewolf by Night.
Right.
Which I think is out of a lot of the stuff that they've done recently, one of the better things that they've done recently, because it's going back to we're taking this style of movie and we're going to make a Marvel production around it instead of let's do a Marvel production. Oh, and here's we're going to try and emulate a style of movie, and they're not doing that as much anymore.
Right.
It's just here's a movie.
Yeah, here's a movie, and here's how it ties into, and this is the homework. Here's your syllabus for your movie.
Yeah, here's the 20 other movies you have to watch before this one.
Right.
Which was another thing that Isaac and I were reviewed it last week. That I said, well, I think one of the great things about Werewolf by Night is that you didn't have to watch anything.
Right.
You don't have to know anything. You don't have to watch anything before it. You can just sit down and watch Werewolf by Night and enjoy it for being Werewolf by Night.
Right.
Which I don't know if you've seen it yet or not.
I have not seen it yet.
Yeah, it's fun. It's nothing mind blowing, but it went in a direction that I wasn't expecting it to.
Nice.
In a good way, in more or less a good way. and it is very stylized to the horror movies of old from the 50s.
The old monster movies of
the old monster, black and white monster movies where they use the lighting and the shadows to tell the story, and not necessarily what's on screen.
Right.
So
it's nice.
Yeah. So, yeah. But everyone's heard that. Go back to last week's episode 198. This is 199. My goodness.
What are we going to do for 200?
What are we doing for 200? First of all, I'd like to ask everybody, please send in any comments, any thoughts that you have, well wishes for the show. Email it, send it into the show. Send us voice messages. I can put it on the show. Send it, post it on social.
Send us hate mail. We take that.
We'll take those too.
We're desperate. We just like to see our names in print.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except for that one time. But
that was a court order, so
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Oh
well.
Yeah, these things happen. People get court orders every day,
all the time.
But yeah, we'll be doing a trivia episode. I haven't done a trivia episode, so I figured let's do a trivia episode. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Who's going to be answering these trivia questions that you've concocted?
Not me.
Yeah, I've noticed. Tease the people a little bit. Like,
tease the people. It is people that you've heard on this show multiple times over, or in short, all the co-hosts. Yeah, so it'll be yourself, it'll be Isaac, it'll be Dave, and it'll be Kim. So
it'll be me, Isaac, Dave, and Kim.
Yep.
We will be competing for Matt's hand in marriage.
Someone already beat you on that.
Oh, see now. Well, I've got comments, but I'll save them for next week when we've got more show. I've got to see. Here's the thing. I keep thinking of these. Like, I should ask Matt this. I should ask Matt that. I should ask Matt how we're doing this. And I've decided, like, no, I should wait until we're recording the show, and then I should start asking these questions.
And put me on the spot as live.
Totally put you on the spot and throw you under the bus, because I think it's better. It's more entertainment, really.
So the
question I asked before we started recording, I did ask Matt a question about how we were going to do next week, and I thought I wanted to plant that thought in your head because I thought that was the legitimate one. I've got a bunch of other questions too. I don't care what the answers are because it'll just be more fun to ask you and see what the outcome is.
The answer is pants.
Nice. So yes, I should be wearing them, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Gotcha. All right. What should I wear for the podcast? The episode. The answer is pants.
Pants.
Gotcha.
We could do a whole song about pants. Pants.
We could, but we won't.
Pants. Yeah, so someone beat us to it.
Yeah.
That would be copyright infringement. Darn you, Mike Nelson. Yeah, so it'll be the five of us, which is going to be the most amount of people that we've ever had on the show. Doing,
not counting split personalities.
Well, this is true.
Nope.
Even in that case, then we will have 15 people on the show.
Well, there you go. 3 for each of us.
Yes. We'll be doing a lot of trivia, Disney related trivia of all sorts. So covering, just like the show, covering all aspects of Disney between Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, 20th century, in Muppets and so forth.
You better have some Muppets questions on there.
I am definitely going to have Muppets questions.
I want at least one chance to kick my co-stars' butts.
Yes, I will make sure. Yes.
One thing, I'm going to fail at everything else. I just need that one to cling on to.
After we get off
that puppy.
Yes. Once we stop recording, so this way people, the listeners don't know the questions ahead of time. I will ask you to give me some Muppet trivia questions so I can make sure to ask you next week.
Right.
Because if I need Muppet trivia, I go to you.
But you see, that's the kind of thing where, like I said to you before, we can talk about this later, but I think my thought for this, folks, is I want the show to be, it's not who has the right answer, it's who has the most interesting answer.
Well, it's like nursing school. It's not the correct answer, it's the best answer.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, we can sit here and we can go, well, what year did Walt Disney do this? And someone can say 1929 or 1932, but you can also talk about, what else was going on at that time. And that becomes a history lesson, and it becomes more interesting. But we'll talk about these things later. And we'll talk about these things next week when you join us on, I don't remember the name of the podcast anymore. What is this? Who are you? What is it? What are we now?
Who am I? Am I wearing any pants?
God, I hope I'm wearing pants.
Let me check.
What is this? Oh, wait, hang on. I've got it written here in my pants. WD Magic Cast.
Don't worry.
Property. Well, no, it's on the tag. It's on the tag. It says property of WD Magic Cast.
You Abe Simpson.
Yeah, property of WD Magic Cast.
You've been branded.
I have WD Magic Cast issued pants to make sure that I'm wearing them when I'm on the show. It's true. And now when we start doing, if we start selling merchandise like T-shirts and tote bags and stuff, we can now sell official WD Magic Cast branded and like the official replicas of Matt Leonard's pants.
Well, stay tuned for next week for more announcements.
Oh, this is just an idea. You gotta expand. You said you wanted to do this so we could expand, and I think we're
expanding pants.
I think we should expand into my pants.
It's a family friendly show. We don't have expanding pants like that.
Oh, and I thought this was going to be a normal show, too. I thought we were doing so good. We stayed on topic and everything.
And you had to bring up next week's episode with your expanding pants.
I wanted to tease it. I wanted to sort of promote it because I knew it was a big deal for you.
Well, it is a big deal.
Give people a reason to listen to this. And this is what I think I've now scared people, and now they're going to be afraid of us.
Now everyone's going to think your pants are a big deal.
Yeah, well, my pants are a big deal. You were the one who said the answer is pants.
Huh.
You could have said the answer is belly buttons, and then this whole conversation would be even worse.
No, it's true. This is true. You'd be traveling at the speed of
What are
Lint.
you drinking from there? What is that? Your little Star Wars cup? That's nice.
Yeah.
It's Grogu. What's in that? Is that just water?
Yeah, just water this time.
Apple juice? Water and apple juice? Just water.
Just water. Plain old boring water.
That's what I get to. I think next week I might do something more than water. We'll see.
They'd be encouraged.
Yeah.
I would maybe make tea, but I'm out of honey. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well.
I would have made tea, but my kitchen is in pieces. But that's another story for another time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So on that bombshell.
Oh my gosh. The bombshell in my kitchen, yes. Oh, I'm so sorry, folks. We had such a good show until the last 5 minutes. I'm sure Matt will edit that later, or not. And we'll see you next week, where we will discuss my pants some more.
All right.
Or not.
It's not stopping.
Are we still recording? Yes.
Well, let me stop
I
recording.
think we should keep this part in. Don't edit this out. This is the good stuff.
This is weird. We broke Skype.
Do we have to do the whole show over again?
No.
Oh, thank God.
No, your pants broke Skype.
Wow.
Hold on, let me try this.
Hang on. Hang up.
Thank you again for listening, everyone. Thank you, Matt, for joining us as we talked about She-Hulk. What are your thoughts of She-Hulk? What did you think of Marvel Studios' latest Disney Plus series? Let us know on our Facebook page, facebook.com/WDMagicCast. On Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, we are at WDMagicCast. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you get the audio version of the show and some other things that may be popping up shortly. You can also leave us a voice message through the Anchor app or Anchor.fm website, or record us a message electronically and email it to us at email.wdmagiccast.com. You can also email any questions or suggestions you may have to that address as well. Links to all these are in the show notes. And again, episode 200 is right around the corner, literally days away. Days away, we'll be recording our 200th episode, and we want you to be part of it. Please send us those emails, send us those voice messages. Again, email address, email@wdmagiccast.com, where you can send us something you record on your computer, your smartphone, your tablet device. Very easy, and email it to us there. Or go to the Anchor.fm website or Anchor app, download that, it's free, and you can send us a message through there. If not, a simple email would be perfectly fine. Again, email at WDMagicCast, wishing us a happy 200. Please send them along. And also, someday, we'd love to do a Q&A session. Send us some questions along that way, too. I want to thank you for your time. I know how little time everyone has nowadays. Everything is so crazy. Holidays are gearing up. Kids are back in school. Sports are back in sessions. Mass hysteria is going on. And the fact that we get to spend this time together really, really means a lot to all of us. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please, let people know about the show. This is how the show grows. Tell people. Share it out, the links on social networks. Share it out on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on WhatsApp, TikTok, whatever social media platform you use, Snapchat. And send out the link. Let people know about the show. Tell people, if you see people or people that you know that are Disney people, let them know about the show as well. This is how the show grows. And if you really, really want to help us out, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Stitcher, and leave us a rating. We have all 5-star reviews at the moment, but we need more. Keep them coming, because the more that we get, the more those podcast downloading streaming services will promote the show as well. Free! It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Leave us a review, leave us a rating on there. Let people know about the show. Tell your Disney friends about it as well. The more we have joining our family, the better we'll be. Won't believe in a big Disney family? So do I. Don't forget to subscribe to the show. This way you always know when a new episode is posted. And while you're at it, consider becoming a premium subscriber. Really, really help the show out. Keep the lights on, as it were. You can do this over at anchor.fm/WDMagicCast/support, or find our Patreon page. You can also check out our merchandise shop, where you get yourself some really cool WD Magiccast stuff. More things coming shortly. Stay tuned here for the announcement. You can find these links in the show notes as well, because remember, the show is brought to you by listeners like you. An old Japanese proverb I think is appropriate for She-Hulk. In Japan, broken objects are often repaired. The flaws is seen as a unique piece of the object's history, which adds to its beauty. Consider this when you feel broken. Remember, be your own hero. Never give up. Never give in on yourself. There are people out there who need you. And there are people out there who will help you. You are special. You are unique. You are beautiful. And the world's a better place because of you. Now, I'd like to end this week's show with a quote from Walt Disney himself. When it came to television, the one thing I wanted was to control my product. I didn't want anyone else to have it. I wanted to control the format and what I did with it. Now I have complete control. There is nobody that can tell me yes or no. I have it, and if I fall down, it's on me. There's no one else to blame. And that, again, is from Walt Disney. Thank you again for listening, everyone. And I'll see you next time.